then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a VW Touran. It's a 1.9 TDI S model. The car is registered FE08YKH and has a mileage of 111,768 recorded. The reason for all of our videos, and especially actually this road test section, is to ensure that if anyone's online looking at any of our cars, they get to see the very car in operation. The reason we feel it's important, as I always say, is because we know to our cost how frustrating it can be to go and see a car which can look perfectly good in photographs, in description, but only to get there and find out it's got an obvious fault that shows up whilst driving it. And it's probably more important on older cars with higher mileage, like this one. So that's why we do it. So coming to the car, as you'll hopefully know from the advert, we sell obviously predominantly Honda cars with the occasional Lexus and Toyota, but pretty much all Honda. But we obviously take cars as part exchange, and the chap bought a CR-V from us and part exchanged this car. Obviously I've driven it before, so I know what the car drives like. But obviously a very, very well maintained car in terms of the service history of the vehicle. Engine starts instantly and settles to a nice smooth even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car, and temperature gauge is running as a third, which according to Google is exactly where it's meant to be on one of these cars. But this has always been a good diesel. It's quiet, generally speaking, pulls with real vigour. You know, it's got very good throttle response, you know, from very low down, and just keeps pulling, but it's obviously incredibly economical as well. But yeah, they've got a reputation for being, you know, one of the better diesels out there, to say the least. And it still sounds sweet. There's no kind of harshness to it. Engine then feeds through into clutch and gearbox. Clutch of car feels fine. Obviously, probably a bit heavier than it would have done when it was new, but it bites exactly as it should. So all good in terms of its actuation. 6-speed gearbox on the car. All the gears feel nice and tight. The linkage is really good still. VW, a bit like Honda, generally do very nice gearboxes, not only for reliability, but to actually use. And this one's no different. It's got nice weighting, it's nice springing between the gears. Obviously a manufacturer that actually cares what it feels like when you change gear, as opposed to many others. Steering on the car tracks absolutely dead straight. There's no vibrations at this speed, or any speed actually up to the legal limit. But again, a good power steering system. It's well weighted. It feels nice. I mean, the car feels very, very tight on the road, I have to say. There's obviously benefits from the history it's got attached to it, obviously, but the whole car does feel very tight indeed. The steering it works very, very nicely indeed. It works well with the chassis, and that's again not always the case. The chassis itself is obviously geared up predominantly to provide a comfortable ride for, you know, up to 7 people, because obviously it's a 7-seat version of this car, and it does a very good job at it. It is very comfortable. It's very smooth. It irons out the smaller imperfections better than a lot of cars do, but it doesn't kind of collapse going through the corners either. And that's not to suggest for a second that it's sporty, because it is most certainly not, but it is very good at what it's designed to do, and that's to sort of ferry people about without lots of kind of lurching and body motion going on. Also, absolutely no rattles or clonks coming from underneath the car, so all in very, very good order in that sense. Just going to give the brakes a bit of a shove, make sure no one's directly behind me. I know they're good because I checked them last time I was here, but yeah, it's a nice solid brake pedal on the car. No pulsing, no vibrations coming back through the pedal at all, so all very, very good. Finally, to come inside, I mean, most Tourans that I've seen have been very, very heavily used inside. This one has not. It's been kept really, really nicely. We've not even cleaned it. It's just, this is how it's going to go. It doesn't really need a clean. There's obviously a chap was, you know, quite particular about his cars, which is really good, and has kept his car really, really nicely in here. It's a, you know, lots of people go see lots of cars at this price range, and they will look, you know, like they've been used. And kids have definitely been sort of dropping a McDonald's in the back. Not this one. It looks like, you know, just looking over my shoulder there, it's just very, very clean and tidy, I have to say. Nicely built as well. There's no squeaks, no rattles in here. Everything seems to work exactly as it should do. Air conditioning is lovely and cold in the car. So that's all working exactly as it should as well. But overall, I have to say, I'm just swing around here. I'm not quite sure what this chap's going to do. He's going to let me go, thank you very much. The point of video, as I said, it's only brief, is literally just to show the car operating. I can't fault it, actually. It drives really, really nicely. I hope that's been of some help.